Tonight, we journey back to a place where the hearth was rarely warm, the laughter rarely innocent, and the air rarely breathable. Not a battlefield, not a prison, but something more familiar and yet more disturbing. The medieval tavern. Not the kind of place where a jazz trio plays in the corner, or where menus boast of artisanal ales. No, this was the true heart of the village, the town, the weary road. A single room, smoky and stinking, packed with bodies hungry for drink, for coin, for stories, and sometimes for blood. A place that was essential to medieval life, but utterly hostile to modern sensibilities. Before we go any deeper, take a moment to like this video and subscribe, but only if you truly enjoy the strange, smoky corners of history we explore here. And in the comments, tell me where you're watching from and what time it is for you right now. It's always fascinating to see this little community stretch across time zones, bound by a shared curiosity for the past. Now, step carefully. You are about to enter the tavern. The wooden door is swollen with age and damp, and the hinges shriek as you push. Inside, your eyes sting instantly. Smoke hangs heavy in the air, not drifting up, but curling down around your shoulders. The fire pit is burning greenish logs. The chimney, if it exists at all, is failing its only job. You cough, blinking in the haze, and already your clothes are taking on the smell of old meat, spilt ale, and something sour that might be human. You are not welcome. Not really. Not yet. You feel the eyes on you first. Suspicious, curious, measuring. This is not the tavern of storybooks. No kindly innkeeper offers you stew. No warm bench awaits your weary frame. Instead, you are a stranger, and strangers are trouble. Your boots squelch slightly as you step across the rush-covered floor. The straw has not been changed for weeks, perhaps months. Beneath it lies a mash of beer, spit, vomit, and things no one dares to name. You pray the fleas stay in the floor and not your trousers. The tables are sticky, not just from spilled drink, but from the accumulated grease of 100 unwashed hands and meals eaten by fingers. There are no napkins here, no plates either. Just wooden boards, chipped trenchers, and the occasional knife. Forks? You do not ask for forks. The noise is not loud, but it is dense. A low rumble of voices, thick with ale and old arguments. The occasional shout cuts through, followed by a laugh that ends too quickly. Dice clatter in a corner. A coin hits the floor, and no one returns it. You find a seat because standing too long means attention, and attention here can be fatal. You settle onto a bench that wobbles on the uneven flagstone. Something small scurries away beneath your feet. A mug is slammed in front of you. The tavern keeper does not ask what you want. There is only one option, ale. It is warm, sour, and weak, on purpose. Boiled during brewing to kill off the worst bacteria, but left thin so that it may be drunk by the bucket and still not slay the whole room. Children drink this, monks brew it, you sip. It is safer than water, but not much more pleasant. And yet, this is the best part of the night. The ale numbs the senses. It is meant to. As the fire sputters and more bodies crowd in from the chill night, the tavern begins to pulse with its own rhythm. You watch a man lose 3 coins and a finger in a single round of dice. You watch a woman stand on a table and sing poorly. You watch her descend and slap a man hard enough to silence the room. Then everything resumes. You do not yet understand the rules here, but you know there are rules. Unspoken, but rigid. Do not ask too many questions. Do not stare too long. Do not win too often. And never, ever try to leave with someone else's purse, because someone always watches. The tavern keeper is not your friend. He waters the ale, undermeasures the bread, and watches the exits. He pays lip service to the local lord and may report your name in the morning. He knows the debts of every regular and the sins of every traveller. His ledger may be blank, but his memory is not. Behind the bar, a boy no older than 12 mops, a spill with what might once have been a tunic. His eyes are glazed. He has seen worse. You think of leaving. You should leave. But the door has vanished into the gloom. The warmth that seemed inviting is now oppressive. You are sweating, despite the cold seeping through the cracks in the walls. Your stomach clenches not from nerves, but from the smell of the stew now making its rounds. It is greasy, peppered with spice, not for flavor but to hide the rot. A single bone protrudes from the bowl, perhaps lamb, or perhaps not. The man next to you leans closer. He smells like onions and sweat, and he is very interested in your shoes. He asks your name. You hesitate. Too late. In the medieval tavern, hesitation is blood in the water. You smile and lie. He smiles back, but his eyes do not. You shift on the bench, but your cloak is caught on a splinter. You pull. The bench tilts. Your mug spills. He laughs, but it is not a kind laugh. Someone throws a log onto the fire. Sparks shoot up, briefly illuminating the smoke, the faces, the soot-streaked beams above. You see now how low the ceiling island, how little air remains. You cough again, and the man is still watching you. Your purse is still intact. For now, you will not sleep tonight. No one truly sleeps in a tavern, not unless they are too drunk to feel the lice or too foolish to fear the knife. If you must rest, you will do so with your back to a wall, one eye open, and your fingers curled tightly around what little you still possess. And this is only the first hour. You still have the night to survive. And if you think you can leave at first light, you should know this. The door does not open for free. Not here. Not in the medieval tavern. Because in a world with no safety nets, no police, no comfort beyond a fire and a sour drink, every man is for himself, and every coin must be earned or taken. So drink up, but keep your wits about you, because you will not last the night. You wake up on a hard surface, and for a moment, you are unsure where you are. The smoke is still here. Your eyes sting again. Your back aches. You had not meant to sleep, but exhaustion crept in. Somewhere between the second bowl of stew and the third hour of tense silence. You sat too long. You lost track. Your hand instinctively goes to your belt. The pouch is lighter. Not empty, but lighter. You do not make a scene. That would be a mistake. You are still alive, and that, for now, is worth more than a few coins. You glance around. The tavern has changed. Some bodies are gone. Others remain, slumped or sprawled or staring into nothing. The fire has died down to coals, and with it, the heat has retreated. The cold is back, creeping up your spine. The room smells worse in the half-light. You rise slowly, your knees crack, your shoulders itch. You may have acquired fleas. At the far end, the tavern keeper is nodding off behind the bar. A dog lies curled at his feet, though you are not sure it is a dog. It may once have been. Its ribs move. That is all you can tell. The boy from before is gone. So is the woman who sang. So is the man with the bad teeth who watched you too long. The door creaks. You are not the one who opened it. Two men enter, wrapped in cloaks, faces shadowed. They say nothing, but the room reacts. Not with fear, not with joy, just adjustment. The men sit. Ale appears before them, poured without question. They do not pay. You are learning. Power in the tavern is not declared. It is demonstrated quietly. In who drinks for free. In who can leave a knife on the table without drawing one in return. In who does not need to speak to be served. And in who gets out alive. You head to the back of the tavern, toward what you hope is the privy. There is a door. It groans as you open it. Beyond is darkness, a smell worse than anything inside. You do not enter. Instead, you slip behind the building, into the alley. The cold air hits your face like a slap. You breathe deeply, and it is a mistake. The stench here is richer, more varied. Urine, rotting cabbage, something sharp and chemical. Maybe soap, maybe not. But at least it is air. The alley is narrow, flanked by timber and stone. Wastewater runs in a shallow channel at your feet. You hear rats, but do not see them. That is worse. You relieve yourself against the wall, trying not to slip. The straw here is just as wet, just as rank. A pig watches you from the next doorway, unconcerned. You glance up. The stars are out. And so are the others. A figure moves at the far end of the alley. You pretend not to notice. You finish and return inside. The tavern feels hotter now, but less dangerous. Familiar, in a way. You sit again, this time in a different spot. Not out of strategy, but necessity. Your old place is now occupied by someone asleep, or perhaps dead. The tavern keeper opens one eye. He sees you. He does not smile, but he nods. That is something. Your mug is refilled. No charge. You are becoming a regular. But what does that mean? You watch the room more closely now. You see the patterns. The men at the dice table have not moved in hours, but their pile of coins has shifted, subtly, always toward the same pair of hands. A man in the corner is carving something into the wood with a dagger. No one minds. A woman with grey hair and a ruined dress tends to a bruised boy with fingers too thin for his age. She feeds him from her own bowl, then licks the spoon. You hear a story. Not directly. You overhear it, which is the only way stories are told here. A knight, drunk, tried to impress a girl 3 nights ago, claimed he had bested a Saracen in single combat, boasted of gold and deeds and lineage. He woke up without his boots, his purse, or his horse. The girl was gone. So was the tavern boy who served him. No one laughed. It was not funny. It was expected. You are not shocked anymore. That is the change. You sip the ale. It is still bad, but it is warm. The man beside you is missing 2 fingers. He notices you looking. He shrugs. Lost in a game, he says. You nod. He grins, showing 4 teeth. Not dice. You do not ask what game? You do not ask anything. The tavern teaches silence. It teaches endurance. It does not teach comfort. Someone starts singing. This time, the song is old. A dirge, maybe. It is in a language you do not understand, and it makes your skin crawl, but no one stops it. One by one, heads dip, eyes close, not in sleep, but in memory. This place remembers the dead. You feel your own memories shift. Already, the world outside this tavern feels distant. Cleaner, yes, but also less real. In here, everything is raw, honest, brutal. And still, you would not last. Because your stomach is already roiling from the stew. Your purse is half gone. Your lungs hurt from the smoke. You itch everywhere. You are tired, but cannot rest. The tavern has welcomed you, but not kindly. It will take everything from you, and still expect a tip. And you have not yet seen what happens when the wine flows, when the Lord's men arrive, when the fire gets too low, when the doors are barred, and the games truly begin. This is only your 2nd night, and you are already unraveling. The sun never fully rises in the tavern. It slips through the cracks of the walls, touches the floor like a cautious guest, then retreats. Morning is something you feel in your bones more than see with your eyes. Your head aches not from drink, but from breathing too long in foul air. Your muscles are stiff from sitting hunched, alert, waiting for danger that never quite arrives, but never quite leaves either. You stretch carefully. A bad idea. Your back spasms, your knee pops. And worst of all, someone groans awake beside you, a man whose name you do not know, whose arm is too close to your own, whose breath reminds you that dental hygiene is a luxury of the future. He wipes his nose on his sleeve, then eyes your cup. You pass it to him. Better that than conflict. He drinks deeply, belches, and smiles. For now, that has brought you peace. The tavern is quieter now. The dice have stopped. The singing has ended. Those who remain are either unconscious or stirring. A barmaid with hollow cheeks and a limp begins clearing bowls with fingers so calloused they scrape like wood against wood. She carries the crockery with one hand and swats flies with the other. You realize she is missing 2 fingernails. You do not ask why. A group of laborers enters. Their clothes are thick with soil. Grave diggers, maybe, or dung collectors. They sit heavily, order loudly, pay with grimy coppers. They smell worse than the tavern. That is a feat. The tavern keeper nods to them. Respectfully. These are regulars. These are his people. And you are not yet anything. The keep brings you porridge. It is grey. Unidentifiable. Hot, at least. You thank him, but he does not reply. He moves on to the next table without a glance. You eat because you must, because your stomach is empty and you cannot survive another bowl of stew. The porridge tastes of ashes or dust or the bowl it was cooked in, but you do not gag. Not this time. You are adapting. The door opens again, and this time a girl enters. She is young, 12, perhaps 13, but walks like someone much older. She wears a cloak 2 sizes too large and carries a basket lined with cloth. She goes table to table, selling, not food, not drink. Hers are charms, little trinkets of bone and string, bits of iron twisted into loops, a feather bound with twine, a carved wooden heart, amulets, protection, luck. She sells them without words. She holds them out. People nod or shake their heads. Some toss her a coin. Others pretend not to see. She comes to you. Her eyes are dark. Her face is unreadable. She says nothing, just holds out a small pouch. Inside, you glimpse something white. A tooth. A stone. You take it. You do not know why. You drop a coin into her hand. She bows slightly and moves on. You do not know what you bought. But suddenly, you feel less alone. The tooth is warm, or perhaps your hand is just cold. The tavern breathes. That is the best way to describe it. It swells with life, then exhales it slowly. It is never still, never silent. Even when no one speaks, the creak of wood, the clink of tankards, the crackle of fire, the whisper of shifting straw, all remind you that this is a living thing, not just a building, a creature, and you are inside it. The man beside you finally rises. He stretches, farts, scratches his belly, and walks off, whistling tunelessly. He leaves behind a smear on the bench. You move slightly away from it, but there is nowhere else to go. Your body itches worse now. You think of lice, fleas, mites. You think of the boy who mopped the floor and wonder where he sleeps. If he sleeps, the door opens again. This time, a man enters in a cloak too fine for this place. The room stills. Not goes quiet, but stills. Eyes flick toward him, then away. The barmaid stops mid-wipe. The tavern keeper lifts his head fully. The man removes his hood. He is clean-shaven. His hair is oiled. His boots gleam. And yet, his eyes are hard, cold, practiced. A tax collector, or worse, a clerk of the Lord. He says nothing, just takes a seat at the corner table, and waits. The tavern begins to move again, but more carefully. Conversations become murmurs. Laughter dies before it's born. The gravediggers finish their drinks and shuffle out. You feel a knot in your chest. You have nothing to fear. And yet, the man produces a scroll, a quill, a pot of ink. He begins to write. Someone is being recorded. Someone is being watched. You are learning something else now. The tavern is not just danger from within. It is also danger from above, from power. It is where men talk too freely, where secrets spill after ale, where plans are whispered and informants sharpen their ears. The tavern keeper brings the man wine, real wine, from a glass bottle. You have not seen a bottle in days. The clerk drinks it slowly, without looking up. He is not here to drink. He is here to listen. And you are just here, a foreigner in time, out of place, out of luck, and almost out of coin. You touch the tooth in your pouch again. It feels heavier now. The sun finally makes its way to the door and does not dare come further. You have survived the night and the morning, but your clothes are ruined, your belly aches, and your eyes are red from smoke and lack of sleep. Your skin crawls, and the clerk is still watching. This was meant to be a place of rest, of food, drink, sleep, but it is none of those things. It is survival, barely, and you are beginning to understand. You would not last a day. Not truly, because the tavern does not want you. It never did. It just let you in to see what you were made of. And now, it is watching you fall apart. You stay seated, because standing draws attention and movement might catch the eye of the clerk who is still calmly scratching ink onto parchment. You do not know what he writes. Names, perhaps, offences, rumours, debts. You hope your own name has not passed his ears, but how would you know? In a tavern like this, nothing is ever clear. You sip your drink again. The taste has not improved, but you have grown used to it. Weak, sour, vaguely smoky. The temperature of pond water. It does not comfort, but it dulls. That, you suspect, is the point. Around you, the space has begun to hum once more. The workers who left earlier have been replaced by others. Younger men this time. Apprentices, stable boys, mill hands. Their faces are smudged with dust, but their eyes are still bright, not yet dulled by years of this, not yet consumed. They toss coins with ease, gamble with too much cheer. One plays a lute, badly. Their noise is contagious, and for a moment, the tavern softens. Someone claps in rhythm. A girl twirls in place, briefly laughing. Even the barmaid cracks half a smile before the clerk's presence reasserts itself like a shadow. And then, from the corner, a voice cuts through, low, slow, slurred with drink or bitterness or both. Heard the miller's daughter lost her third child. Silence. Just like that, the air changes again. The players falter. The lute goes quiet. Another voice reply, quiete, a curse. The first voice answers. Number, her husband. Nothing more is said, but you feel the mood collapse into ash. The laughter dies. Eyes shift, because everyone knows what is being said, and everyone knows better than to say more. In a tavern like this, truth is dangerous. Sometimes more dangerous than lies. You see now that the tavern does not merely house the poor, the drunk, the lost. It shelters stories. Some old, some still bleeding. It is the unofficial court, the archive, the confessional, the gallows. And it has no judge but rumor. The door opens again, and a gust of wind blows in a cloud of cold and dust. The clerk flinches. A man enters wearing chainmail beneath a cloak. A soldier, but not a knight. This one fights for coin. Mercenary. He smells of horse and steel and ash. He does not speak. He sits. His sword clangs against the bench, and no one laughs. No one sings now. Not even the fool with the lute. The tavern shifts once more. It breathes deeper, slower. A man like this does not come for a drink. He comes because he is tired of holding violence in. The barmaid brings him ale with 2 hands. She backs away without turning. You understand something else. Fear here is layered. There is fear of the local lord, fear of tax, fear of hunger, but then there is fear of the unpredictable, the wild card, the mercenary, the traveler, the gambler, who does not care what he loses because he has already lost too much. These are the most dangerous men, and yet the tavern lets them in. Because the tavern needs their coin, and because no one else will, the man drinks slowly. His fingers tap the table, a rhythm, maybe a memory. His eyes scan the room like someone measuring his chances, as if violence is always possible. You look away. You are learning. Fast. Your body is tired. Your skin is oily. Your feet ache, and you smell like the floor. And it is barely noon. There are no clocks here. Time passes in shadows, in the cooling of soup, in the rising and falling of voices. The sun has moved slightly. You feel it on your left cheek now. That is all you have. Another bowl is placed in front of you. Something new. A brown paste with bits of meat. You stare at it, then take a bite. It is saltier than you expect, and chewy. You do not ask what animal it came from, or what part. You just eat. Because hunger has no pride. The clerk finishes his writing and stands. No one moves until he is gone. He leaves a few coins on the table. The tavern keeper retrieves them with surprising speed, then wipes the spot with the edge of his sleeve. A sigh ripples through the room, a shared exhale. It is not relief, just release. Now that he is gone, the stories can resume. The real ones. You hear them like rain, quiet at first, then gathering strength. A man claiming he saw a fox with 2 tails. A woman swearing her cousin died because he saw the devil dancing on a hill. A boy whispering that the priest's wine is stronger than the tavern's. Everyone has something, and you listen, because it is the safest thing you can do, and because you begin to understand something deeper. The tavern is not merely a place to drink and rest. It is a pressure valve, a place where the rules are bent just enough to let men survive the rules outside. In the field, you cannot speak. In the market, you cannot complain. In the church, you cannot doubt. But here you can lie, or cry, or curse, or fight, and the walls will not tell. Unless, of course, the clerk is present. The mercenary stands, leaves without paying. The tavern keeper says nothing. That, too, is a rule. The girl with the basket of charms has returned. She sits near the fire now, making more, tying knots, burning ends, placing pebbles into tiny sewn bags. You watch her fingers move. She hums a song with no words. You eat the last of your meat paste. You do not gag. The door opens again. A man enters carrying a rooster under one arm and a jug under the other. He is old. His beard is matted. His clothes are layered, mismatched, damp. He sets the jug on the table and speaks to no one. Who wants to know what tomorrow holds? Ah, a prophet. Or, more likely, a madman. The tavern collectively ignores him. That is the polite thing to do. But he does not mind. He pours a bit of liquid into a cracked wooden cup, sets the rooster on the bench, and drinks. The bird does not move. No one looks twice. And yet you feel the weight of the moment, the surreal normalcy, the way the strange becomes ordinary. The tavern makes room for madness, because the world outside has no patience for it. And sometimes, the madman is the only one telling the truth. You reach for your cup again, and realize it is empty. You have made it this far, but night is still coming, and you have not yet seen the worst of what this place can be. You would not last a day, not if the tavern decided otherwise, and it very well might. Nightfall comes without warning. No bell rings, no candles are lit. The sun simply vanishes behind thick clouds and sagging rooftops, and darkness oozes into the tavern like smoke from the hearth. The fire crackles low and red, offering little warmth and even less light. Shadows crawl up the walls, and the corners of the room begin to feel deeper, more dangerous. The tavern changes after dark. It is not louder, it is not fuller, but it is different. There's a weight in the air now, a sharpness behind every glance, a hesitation before every word. The laughter becomes quieter, shorter, tighter. The games continue, but the stakes are different now. Coin is still wagered, but so is pride, so is vengeance, so is hunger. You do not know the rules of night in the tavern, but you are about to learn them. The barmaid no longer serves alone. A man older, broader, with a permanent scowl now stands near the hearth. He carries no weapon, but he wears the posture of one who doesn't need one. His job is unspoken but understood. He watches, and if necessary, he removes. You make eye contact with him once. He does not blink. You look away. The prophet is still there. The rooster now sits on his lap, pecking at crumbs from the table. He mutters to himself between sips from his jug. No one has approached him. No one will. The tavern has its own gods now. You count the coins left in your pouch. 3. Not enough for a bed. Not that you'd sleep even if you had one. You glance toward the upstairs loft. A wooden ladder leads to a mezzanine where rough mattresses are laid out on the boards. Straw, mostly. No blankets, no privacy. Just bodies lined in rows, like goods in storage. A woman snores loudly up there already. Another coughs. And below, the room waits for darkness to thicken. It arrives. With it, the real drinkers. These are not the farmers who came for a warm bowl after a long day, or the travellers passing through. These are men who live for the night, whose fingers twitch when dice rattle, whose tongues loosen with wine, whose anger simmers just beneath their skin. And one by one, they arrive. A blacksmith with burns on his forearms and soot in his beard. A butcher with hands too clean to be comforting. A toothless man in a velvet tunic far too fine for his station. They take their usual seats. The tavern adjusts around them. You watch the younger patrons shift subtly, giving way, lowering voices. The power has shifted again. The tavern is a living organism, and these are its claws. The games begin anew. This time, not with coins, but with stories and accusations. You still owe me for the pig, one man says across the table. I paid you with salt, the other replies. Salt that melted in the bag. A chuckle. Then silence. Then the glint of a blade, briefly unsheathed, then resheathed. Message received. The tavern keeper says nothing. He wipes a mug slowly, then places it upside down on a shelf. A signal, perhaps, or just a habit. You cannot tell anymore. Your body is shivering now. Not from fear, from cold. The fire is fading. The night is rising. You retreat toward the wall, find a seat half broken but unoccupied. You rest your back against the plaster and feel the chill seep through. But at least you can see the room now, no one behind you. You try to look invisible. You fail. A man sits beside you, mid-30s, narrow eyes, a nose broken at least twice. He smells of onions and old sweat. You lost something, he says. You blink. He holds up your coin pouch. Empty. You check your belt. It is gone. He tosses the pouch into your lap. You dropped it, he says, grinning. Then he stands, walks away, laughing to himself. You stare at the empty pouch. He could have kept it. He wanted you to know he took it, that he could, that you are nothing here. The message is clear. You are tolerated, but only barely. The fire flares. Suddenly someone has thrown in a log. Sparks fly, and for a moment, the room is bright. You see them all now. The drinkers, the gamblers, the bruised and the bitter, the forgotten. A woman with a black eye tells a joke to a man with a limp. They laugh together. The laughter echoes strangely, too loud for what was said. You do not understand. A boy no older than 15 swipes a mug from a distracted patron and drinks deeply. No one stops him. Another man is slumped at a table, face down, breathing barely. A boot sticks out from under the bench beside him. It twitches once, then goes still. No one cares. No one calls for help. This is not a place for sympathy, or rescue, or clean endings. This is a place that survives you, not the other way around. And you, fresh-faced, aching and empty, are not built for this. Your back hurts, your teeth feel loose, your lips are cracked, and your stomach protests with every movement. Still you stay, because outside is colder, and darker, and lonelier. And because the tavern, for all its filth and fire and fear, is honest. It does not pretend to be safe. You have made it through another dusk, but the worst is yet to come. The ale is stronger now, the arguments louder, the smiles thinner, the games less friendly, and the door is barred. From the inside, you are not a guest anymore. You are part of the night, and it does not sleep. The door is barred, and with that single, heavy thud of wood against wood, something in you tightens. You're trapped, not in the dramatic sense. No one is pointing a sword at your throat. No one is shouting threats. But you feel it in your chest, in your ribs, like an animal that's been caged. There is no leaving now. Not until morning. If morning comes, the tavern glows dimly, lit by fire and a few candles so wax-dripped and blackened, they resemble nothing human anymore. The hearth spits and groans, the last log half consumed. The fire has grown too low to comfort, but too high to ignore. Its smoke no longer rises, it sinks. And now the tavern smells different. The scent of drink and sweat and straw was one thing. You had grown numb to it. But now there's something worse. The sour edge of desperation. A kind of human fermentation. You understand why plague spreads here. Why rumors spread faster. This is not just a tavern. It is a vessel for disease, decay, and confession. You see it all now. In the corner, a man scratches at his arms, quick, frantic, like he's trying to dig out something under the skin. A rash, a punishment, guilt. You don't know, you won't ask. Next to him, a woman hums softly to herself and stares at a candle so intently you wonder if she remembers where she island. She might have been pretty once, but time and drink and sorrow have chewed the edges of her face until there's little left but silence and song. And beside you, the floor shifts. Something small moves under the rushes. Rat, probably. Or something else. You stare into your cup. You swore you would not drink more. You drink, not because you want to, but because it quiets the thoughts. It softens the edges. And here, everything has an edge. You hear a scrape. Not loud, but deliberate. Your eyes follow the sound. A man is sharpening a blade. He's not hiding it. He's not boasting, either. He does it like a butcher oils his cleaver. Routine. Functional. His face is unreadable. The men around him do not speak. One is missing an ear. Another has a lip twisted by a long, pale scar. None of them smile. You look away. In the tavern, eye contact is currency. And you are broke. Someone starts coughing. Not a little cough. Deep, wet, rattling. The room freezes. A woman stands up. The cough came from her child, curled in her lap like a kitten, pale as flour, shaking. The coughing continues, and then it stops. No one says a word. The woman wipes the child's mouth. The child opens his eyes, breathes. The room exhales. No one wants to die here, but worse, no one wants to be the reason others do. You shift your position. Your spine aches. Your backside is numb. The bench beneath you is damp, but you do not know from what. You reach into your pocket, fingers grazing the small pouch the charm girl gave you. You pull it out. The tooth. It is still warm. You stare at it longer than you mean to. It comforts you in a way that nothing else in this place does. Not because it works, but because it's something to believe in. And belief, here, is a rare and valuable thing. Because God is not welcome in the tavern. You have not seen a cross on the wall. No prayers whispered. No blessings spoken before a meal. This is a place the church tolerates, not sanctifies. Even the priest drinks here, but not in the open. Rumor has it he comes in through the back, cloaked, quiet. Sits in the shadow, drinks fast, leaves faster. He cannot afford to be seen, but he cannot stay away, because even the holy crave escape. You hear a thud, then another. A game begins. It's not dice this time. It's fists. Two men, circling each other like dogs, stripped to shirts, knuckles already red. There is no stage, no referee, just a ring of half-drunken watchers, murmuring, snarling, throwing copper into a hat. The tavern keeper watches from the bar, arms crossed. He will not intervene. Fighting is part of the night. It's how men settle debt. Insults, boredom. The first punch lands with a sickening crack. One man stumbles, blood sprays onto the rushes. A few cheer. You do not. You have never seen violence so casually allowed, so openly invited. You think of leaving again, but you remember the door is barred. And even if it weren't, where would you go? The roads are not safe. The inns are full. The night is cold. Here, at least, you are not alone, even if that is no comfort. The fight ends without ceremony. One man collapses. The other raises both arms, not in victory, but in exhaustion. He doesn't smile. He just wipes his mouth and returns to his bench. Someone drops a coin into his cup. The loser is dragged to the corner, given a rag for his head and a mug for his pride. Life continues, because the tavern does not pause for pain. It absorbs it, consumes it, and moves on. A woman cries, softly. A man vomits into the ashes near the hearth. A mouse scurries across your boot, and you realize you have been here nearly 24 hours. Your skin is oily, your clothes stink, your mind is frayed. And yet, the night is not over. There are more secrets, more bruises, more blood yet to come. You look around at the faces, the floor, the fire. You would not last a day in this place, and the tavern knows it. It has welcomed you like a spider welcomes the fly, and it is almost done waiting. You do not sleep. Sleep is not safe here. Sleep is for the drunk, the foolish, or the resigned. You are none of those. Not yet. Not tonight. Instead, you rest your eyes in shifts, minutes at a time, one hand on your pouch, though it is already empty, the other cradling the little charm from the girl. The tooth feels heavier now, as if it has absorbed your fear. You grip it tight. It does nothing. The tavern groans around you, settling into its most dangerous rhythm, the hour of the almost silent. It is the lull between the first wave of drinkers and the dawn, when the strongest have passed out and the cleverest have fled, when the sober are most dangerous and the drunk are most unpredictable. It is the hour when knives come out not in anger but in habit. The fire is almost gone. Only coals now, red, faint, hissing. Not enough light to see the whole room, just enough to see a face if it leans too close. The tavern is now a womb of shadows, and you are inside it. Somewhere behind you, someone whispers a name. You cannot tell if it's yours. You freeze, but nothing follows. Then again, not all threats announce themselves. A cough breaks the tension, dry, shallow, insistent. You do not turn your head to see who it came from. You know better. Curiosity is punished here. A breeze touches your cheek. A door, number A window maybe. Someone moved past it, or opened it just long enough to let in the night air. And in that breeze you smell something new. Not filth, not alley, not smoke. Blood. You try not to react, but the body does not lie. Your stomach clenches. You scan the room, and then you see it. Near the corner where the man sharpened his knife earlier, a shape slumped awkwardly, half on the bench, half off. The angle is wrong. One leg juts out, twisted. No one is tending to him. No one is looking. That is the rule here. If the body does not cry out, you do not call for help. If the blood is not your own, you do not speak. A few glances flick toward the figure, then slide away. It has happened before. It will happen again. You tell yourself it is none of your business, because it is not, and because saying otherwise is how you get to be the next shape in the corner. The tavern keeper has returned. He does not seem surprised. He walks to the corner, stares, then gestures toward the barmaid. She nods. She disappears into the back. You expect something. Panic. Alarm. A priest, a constable, a rope. Instead, she returns with a sack. Not a small one. Together, they lift the body. Slowly. Awkwardly. It thumps as it hits the floor, then disappears into the bag. Like meat into a butcher's apron, they drag it into the back room. The sack leaves a trail. No one says a word. Someone takes the dead man's seat. That, too, is the tavern. It makes room. And just like that, the night continues. You stare into the coals. The heat is dying. You are dying, not all at once, but in pieces. Your dignity first, then your confidence, then your appetite. Next will be your sleep, then your name. Because no one here uses their real name. Not anymore. Too many debts. Too many ghosts. Someone drops a log onto the coals. The fire jumps to life for a moment. And in that moment, you see something you wish you hadn't. The boy from earlier. The one who mopped the floor. He is in the back, his small frame bent under a bucket, scrubbing the blood with water that turns red, then black, then disappears into the rushes. He does not flinch. He does not gag. He has done this before. The barmaid hands him a coin. He tucks it away. His hands are stained, and he cannot be older than 11. This is what childhood looks like in the tavern. There are no lullabies, no toys, no stories at bedtime. Only work, only witness, only survival. The rooster stirs. You forgot it was still here. Its master is asleep now, head resting on the table, hand still clutching the neck of his jug. The rooster watches the room like a sentinel, one eye fixed on the dying fire, the other on the door that will not open. You try to sleep, just a little. You close your eyes. Omistek, because in the tavern, sleep is not rest. Sleep is surrender. Your dreams are short and sharp and filled with wood smoke and knives and toothless grins. When you wake, your neck is sore, your fingers numb, your lips cracked. You have slept for minutes, perhaps seconds. The rooster crows once. Low, tired, half-hearted. But it is enough. The room begins to stir. Dawn is not yet here, but it is coming. The tavern smells of ash and sour breath and things long decayed. Someone vomits behind the bar. The mercenary returns. You had not seen him leave, but now he's back, with dirt on his boots and a fresh cut across his jaw. He sits in the same place, says nothing. The tavern keeper pours him a drink. Still, no coin is exchanged. Still, no one questions it. You are too tired to be afraid now. And that, too, is dangerous. Because the moment you stop fearing the tavern, it takes you. Morning, or something pretending to be morning. It does not arrive with light. The clouds outside are thick and wet and close, and they offer no Sunday, just a dull grey smear that presses against the windows and seeps through the cracks in the wood like a slow leak. The tavern is not brighter, only less dark. The fire has gone out. The hearth is full of ash and bones. You are not sure what kind. You stretch again. Your body screams. Your joints click. Your skin feels dry and tight, as if coated in smoke and sweat and fear. Witchet Island, you are still alive. This surprises you. But you are not well. Your belly is hollow. Your throat is dry. Your mind is fog. And the worst part is that none of this is unusual. This is what it means to wake up in the tavern, to survive a full day and night and greet the next. And yet, you have not passed a test. You have not earned anything. You have only endured. The tavern does not reward endurance. It expects it. You notice movement in the loft above. Figures rise from the mats, hunched and silent, gathering cloaks and boots and knives. No words are exchanged. No good mornings. Just the soft sound of leaving. One by one, they descend the ladder. You watch them go. Their faces are gaunt, hollow-eyed. Expressions carved from habit, not thought. You are not one of them. Not yet. But you are closer than you were yesterday. The door is still barred. But now, at last, the tavern keeper approaches it. He lifts the heavy beam with a grunt. The sound of wood scraping stone echoes like thunder. The door opens. Cold air rushes in. It smells of mud, manure, and chimney smoke. But to you, it is the cleanest thing you have breathed in days. A man steps out first, muttering under his breath. Then another. Then two more. You rise. Your legs shake. You follow. The outside is not welcoming. The rain has come again, fine and sharp like needles. The ground is soaked. The sky hangs low, pressing down on the world like a lid. But still, you breathe. And for a moment, the tavern is behind you. The urge to run is strong. To disappear into the mist. To find a stream, a bath, a priest. A place where the floor does not crawl and the air does not choke. But where would you go? You have no coin, new friends, new direction. And your feet lead you in a circle. You are not ready to leave. Because you are not clean enough to return to the world. Not yet. You walk around the back of the tavern. You find the place where the barmaid tossed the last of the blood-soaked straw. You see the rats. You see the dog again, the one with the bad eye, the crooked leg, and the intelligence in its stare. It watches you. It knows you are not from here. And yet it does not bark. It only turns and disappears into the alley. You wish you could follow it. You return to the front of the tavern. You do not go inside yet. Instead, you lean against the wall. Feel the grain of the wood press into your back. You close your eyes. You listen. The sounds of the town are waking up. A blacksmith's hammer, a cartwheel over stone, a baby's cry, a rooster again, louder this time. You wonder if it's the same one. You open your eyes. A figure stands nearby. It is the charm girl. She is watching you. Her basket is empty now. Her hands are blackened with soot or ink or something worse. Around her neck hangs a cord with a small dried bundle, her own protection maybe. Or something she stole. She does not speak. You do not ask questions. She holds out another item. Not a charm this time. A crust of bread. Rough, hard, nearly fossilized. You take it. She walks away. You do not thank her. Not because you are rude, but because thanks are dangerous here. They imply a debt, and debts are never small. You bite the bread. It hurts your teeth. You chew slowly. Each swallow scrapes your throat. It is the best thing you've eaten since you arrived. You wonder if it will stay down. So far, it does. You return inside. You are not gone long, minutes at most. But already, the tavern has changed. It is cleaner, not by much. But the straw has been swept. The mugs have been gathered. The coals have been stirred. A new pot of something unidentifiable is beginning to boil over the fire. The boy is scrubbing the corner again. The one where the body had been. There is no stain now, only damp wood. The tavern keeper looks at you when you re-enter. Just once, then nods. That, you realize, is permission. You may stay, not as a guest, not as a friend, but as one more shadow in the room. You sit, the same bench, the same ache. You hear footsteps. Two men enter. Young, well-dressed, better fed, laughing too loud. Their boots are new, their cloaks are dry. Travellers, nobles' sons perhaps, or apprentices from the abbey. They do not know what this place island. Not yet. They joke about the smell, they joke about the barmaid, they joke about the stew. They order wine. The tavern keeper brings ale. They do not question it. They drink. They laugh. They mock. And already you know. They will not last. The dice will come out. A challenge will be made. One will lose too much. One will speak too loudly. One will offend a man who doesn't care what name he carries. And in the night, someone will drag a sack across the floor, and the boy will scrub the wood, and the tavern will breathe. And tomorrow, no one will speak of them, except perhaps the girl, who may carve their names into bone and sell them as charms. You clutch the tooth in your hand. It is no longer warm. It is now very, very cold. You would not last a day in this tavern, and yet, somehow, you already have. But not because you belong, only because the tavern has not decided otherwise. Yet, you no longer flinch at the smells. That is the first sign. You no longer gag when the wind shifts and brings the scent of rot, or ale, or old meat, or wet fur. Your nose has surrendered, or your mind has. Either way, you no longer notice. The second sign is the silence. Not your own. That came hours ago, but theirs. You speak less. They speak less to you. The tavern has begun its sorting. It no longer treats you as an outsider to be observed. You are now part of the furniture, the background, the unremarkable. You are no longer novel, and in the tavern, becoming invisible is the first step toward being devoured. The third sign is the dream, if you can call it that. You do not remember falling asleep, but you must have, because you remember something else. A voice, a laugh, a face pressed too close, then teeth, not biting, grinning, the grin of someone who knows what happens next. You woke with a start, but no one was near you, or if they were, they had already moved on. Now, you sit with your cup, cold, empty, still cupped in your hands. You don't remember finishing it. The stew is bubbling again. It has no recipe. It is a liquid history. Every day it begins anew, but nothing is ever fully removed. New scraps are added, new bones, new grease. The pot is never fully cleaned. It simply continues. Like the tavern, a man eats near you, noisily. He uses a knife to scoop from the bowl. His hands shake, but not from fear, from drink, or something worse. His bowl wobbles. It tips. Some of the stew lands on your boot. You look down, then up. He looks at you, blinks slowly, waits. This is the test. You could curse him, strike him, complain, or you could wipe your boot and pretend nothing happened. You choose the third. He smiles. Toothless, smart, he says, then returns to his meal. You have passed. You have survived the morning. Again. But at what cost? Your sense of time is gone. You measure the day in shadows now, in the way the firelight crawls across the floorboards, in how long the barmaid's limp takes her to reach your table, in how often the boy returns to scrub something you do not ask about. The two young travelers are still here. One now nurses a bruise beneath his eye. The other is quieter than yesterday. They have learned. Quickly. Not enough. But more than nothing. They still speak too loudly. Still laugh too much. Still forget that in the tavern, nothing is private. Their voices become stories, even as they speak them. By nightfall, half the room knows about the affair with the merchant's daughter, the missing ring, the insult to the bailiff, and someone, somewhere, is making plans. The girl has returned. She does not offer you a charm this time. She only walks past and drops a pebble into your hand. You do not question it. You keep it. A man enters, shouting. He is red-faced, drunk, or pretending to be. He waves a letter, a real one sealed, stained with wax. Where's the priest? Demande. No one answers. He glares. He slams a coin on the table. I'll pay. I want it read. Still, silence. Finally, a voice speaks, dry, tired. He's not here. Then who can read? The silence returns. Because no one can, or rather, no one will admit it. Reading is power. Dangerous power. Those who can read know things. They hold secrets. They see the ledgers, the letters, the orders. To admit it is to invite suspicion, or work, or worse. So the man drinks instead. The letter remains sealed. The tavern does not care what it says, because in the tavern, words spoken aloud matter more than those written, and no one here trusts ink, except perhaps the clerk. But he is gone. For now, the tavern keeper watches everything. You have come to understand this. He is more than a man. He is a ledger without paper, a judge without gavel, a god with an apron. He remembers debt. He remembers slights. He decides who eats and who is refused, who drinks water and who drinks lies. And once, just once, you saw him whisper into the ear of a man with a scar shaped like a cross. An hour later, another man was gone. No one asked where. The girl sang that night, a lullaby soft and short, the kind sung at graves. You glance down. Your hand is trembling, not from fear, from exhaustion. Your body is giving up, but the tavern does not allow collapse, not unless it can use it. The boy returns with a pitcher. He pours into your mug. You did not ask. You did not pay. You glance toward the keeper. He nods. Not to you. To himself. You have been marked. Not for danger. Not yet. But for use. The tavern is choosing you, and you will not last. Because the tavern does not take prisoners. It only makes residents, and residents do not leave. Afternoon drifts in without ceremony. There is no bell to mark it, no shift in the lighting, no change in tone. Just a slow thickening of the air, a subtle increase in heat, a kind of swelling in the room's pulse. It is no longer early enough to be hopeful. It is not yet late enough to surrender. It is the tavern's most honest hour when everyone is awake, everyone is tired, and no one is pretending anymore. The stew continues to bubble. You think about asking for some. You do not. Instead, you watch. A man carves a dice cup from a block of wood. He has no tools other than a knife and time. You wonder how many he has made. The floor around him is littered with shavings. His hands move with rhythm, not haste. He whistles under his breath, but not a tune, you know. It might not even be a tune at all. Just a breath pattern, something to stop his thoughts from catching up with him. A woman plucks lice from her child's head with the precision of a surgeon. She places them in a cracked bowl. You do not ask what she will do with them. In the far corner, the two young travelers are sleeping on their arms. Their coin is gone, their pride is gone, and you suspect, by nightfall, their safety will follow. They are learning, as you have learned, that the tavern does not take everything at once. It takes in pieces. You look around and realize the tavern is fuller now. Not with people, with weight. Something is coming. The barmaid moves faster. The boy avoids your gaze. The dog beneath the table does not sleep. And then the sound comes. Not from inside, from out. Hooves, metal shod, purposeful. The room freezes. The tavern keeper places his cloth on the bar. He waits. And then, the door opens. No knocking, no creak. It opens as if it owns the place. Two men enter. They are clean. Their cloaks are embroidered. One wears a badge. Not a nobleman, but close. A tax agent, or a magistrate's man. Their boots drip with mud, but they do not remove them. The tavern shrinks. The boy disappears. The dog slips under a bench. The carver stops whittling. The men speak. We seek one who arrived yesterday. From the west. No one moves. They wait. They are not asking. You feel their eyes scan the room. They are looking for something, or someone, possibly you. You do not know. You do not breathe. Then the tavern keeper steps forward. None fit that mark, he says. His voice is calm, not defiant, but final. The taller man raises an eyebrow. Be sure. The tavern keeper only looks at him. There is a pause. Then, without a word, the men leave. The door shuts. But the weight remains. The tavern breathes again. Slowly. You exhale. You were not sure you had been holding your breath. The stew bubbles. The boy reappears. The dog resettles. But something is different now. The tavern just shielded you, and you do not know why. That is not good, because protection is not free. You glance toward the keeper. He does not look at you. That is worse. It means he expects you to understand the debt without being told. A mug is placed in front of you. Owl. Stronger than before. You drink, because refusal would be insult, and you need to think. You wonder who they were, and what they wanted. Your past begins to feel like someone else's shadow. You stare at the fire, then realize it is burning again. Someone, sometime, must have fed it. You missed that. You are missing more lately. Your awareness is slipping. The tavern is doing its work, wearing you down, softening your edges. Soon, you will not flinch at the knife. Soon, you will not look up when a man falls. Soon, you will forget your name. That is how it keeps you, by making you forget you were ever meant to leave. A chair breaks. A man curses. No one moves, because everyone knows it is not the chair's fault. It is the weight of years. No one in the tavern is whole. They all lean, limp, favor one side. Every soul here is lopsided. Even the barmaid, especially her. She moves like a woman who once danced. Now she only limps. And no one asks what happened, because the tavern writes its stories in wounds, not words. You glance at your hands. They are dirty, bruised. One nail is cracked. The skin beneath your eyes is dark. You have been here less than 2 days. You look like you were born here. A man you've never seen before sits beside you. He does not speak. He does not drink. He just sits. His breath is shallow. His clothes are wet. He shivers. You offer your cup. He does not take it. He simply says, "They saw me." You do not answer, because there is nothing you can say. Because sometimes the tavern hides you, and sometimes it exposes you, and you never know which until it's too late. He stands, walks toward the back room. He does not return. You stare at your cup. It is full again. You do not remember who filled it. You drink, because the tavern gives, but never without taking. You would not last a day, and yet, somehow, the tavern still has use for you. That may be worse. The tavern swallows the afternoon whole. There are no clocks, no bells, no marked divisions of time here. Only the shifting of voices, the deepening of shadows, the smell of the stew as it thickens. You do not know if it has been hours or only minutes since the men with badges left. All you know is that the air has not yet loosened. The boy scrubs again, always scrubbing, always with water that is never clean. The rag he uses is more stain than cloth. He rubs it against the wood until his fingers go raw, then wrings it into a bucket already black with filth. He never speaks, never looks up. His silence is louder than the chatter. The barmaid limps between tables. Her eyes are sharp. She knows every face, every coin, every bruise. She sees everything, but she never lingers. A glance is all she allows. Then she turns, always turning, always moving. If she stops, she is noticed, and in the tavern, being noticed is a risk. You realize something you had not before. No one here is ever still. Even the old man with the rooster shifts his weight, mutters to himself, scratches the table with a dirty fingernail. The gamblers roll dice, tap cups, shuffle coins. The mercenary at his bench drums a rhythm with his fingertips. The tavern itself twitches. It cannot stop. Stillness is dangerous. Stillness is weakness. Stillness is when the tavern swallows you whole. The two young travelers stir awake. Their faces are pale. Their laughter is gone. They whisper to each other in quick bursts. One clutches his side, as if hiding an ache. The other keeps glancing at the door. They will not survive the night. You know this. So do they. But they do not yet admit it. The door opens again. This time, slowly. A man enters, but not like the others. His steps are steady. Too steady. He carries no weapon, wears no badge. His clothes are plain, but cleaner than most. His eyes are pale grey, his face thin and sharp as a blade. The tavern stiffens. He does not look around, he does not need to. He goes to a corner, sits alone, waits. The tavern keeper brings him wine. Not ale. Wine. Without being asked. No coin passes. The pale man sips once, then sets the cup down. The room holds its breath, because everyone knows he is not a soldier, not a clerk, not a taxman. He is worse, an informant. His job is not to drink, not to gamble, not to fight. His job is to listen, to remember, to write, later, when no one sees. You shift on your bench, careful not to meet his eyes. He does not glance at you, but you feel him see you anyway. The stew boils harder. Steam clouds the rafters. The fire is fed again. Logs tossed in without thought. Sparks rise and die in the smoke. The gamblers grow louder, trying to bury their nerves in noise. The woman sings again, a low tune, but her voice cracks. The barmaid snaps at her, too sharp, too quick. The boy keeps scrubbing, and the pale man listens. You drink. It burns more this time. The ale is stronger, or your throat is weaker. A hand touches your shoulder. It is the toothless man. He leans close, his breath foul, his grin wide. You've been chosen, he whispers. You do not ask what he means. You do not want to know. But your hand finds the pouch with the tooth anyway. Cold, as always. He sees this. He nods, then laughs to himself, a laugh that sounds more like a cough. He leaves you, but his words remain. Chosen. The tavern chooses. It always has. It always will. And once it chooses, there is no leaving. The pale man finishes his wine. He leaves without paying. The tavern keeper clears his cup with care, as if touching something poisoned. The weight remains. The fire burns. The dice roll. The travellers laugh too loudly, too forced. And you sit with your cup, your charm, your breath shallow, your body tired. You are not safe. You have never been safe. But now you are marked. You wonder if you will see another morning. And if you do, you wonder what piece of you the tavern will take next. Because it is never done. It always eats. It always wins. And you would not last a day. And the day is not yet over. The sound of dice fills the room again. Not the casual rattle of friendly wagers. No one here plays for fun. This is business, punishment, ritual. The clatter of carved bone on splintered wood has become the heartbeat of the tavern. Sharp, constant, predictable, until it isn't. A man slams his fist on the table. The dice bounce and roll off the edge. One lands in the stew pot. The other vanishes into the rushes on the floor. No one moves to retrieve them. The loser growls. The winner does not smile. There are no winners here. Only those who lose slower. You sit back, watch, sip. Your ale is almost gone again. You've stopped asking how it keeps filling. Sometimes it's the boy, sometimes the barmaid. Once, it was the tavern keeper himself who poured it without looking at you and without saying a word. You never know if it's a gift or a bribe or something else entirely. The fire is hungry. More wood is thrown in. Too much at once. It flares. Shadows scatter. For a brief moment, the room is too bright. And in that moment, you see all of them. The gamblers, hunched like dogs. The barmaid, pale with sweat. The boy, fingers cracked and red. The two travellers, whispering with hollow faces. The mercenary, asleep or dead. It's impossible to tell. The charm girl sitting in the corner, threading string through a small animal skull. The toothless man, smiling at no one. And the tavern keeper, standing behind the bar, wiping a cup that's already clean. You see them, and you understand. No one comes to the tavern to escape. They come here to be seen by no one, to vanish piece by piece in plain sight. A new sound, not loud, but wrong. Something under the floorboards. A scrape. You glance down. There is no cellar here. Not officially, but the boards are old, warped, black with age. The sound comes again. No one else seems to notice. You look up. The tavern keeper is watching you. He shakes his head. Slowly. You look away. You never heard it. The charm girl is humming now. Low, steady, like a prayer or a warning. She finishes the skull talisman, places it carefully beside a tin mug, then leaves it. Does not sell it. Does not touch it again. She walks out the door without a sound. No one follows. The stew has changed colour. Darker now, richer. You ask yourself what was added, then decide not to ask again. The younger of the two travellers stands, swaying. His friend tries to stop him, grabbing at his sleeve. He shrugs him off, walks toward the bar. He slams his palm down, demanding wine. The tavern keeper looks at him, then down at his feet, then back at him, and does nothing. The boy steps forward, holds out a mug, ale. The traveller knocks it away. It hits the floor, cracks. The room falls still. A line has been crossed, but no one says what it was. The boy stares at the broken mug, then back at the traveller, and walks away. The traveller grins. He thinks he has won, but the tavern never forgets. He will learn this. You feel your stomach tighten. not from hunger, from knowing how close you've come. You rise. You step outside. You need air. You need space. You push through the door and into the dusk. It has begun to rain again, thin, sharp droplets that do not soak but pierce. The street is empty, mud slick and silent. You breathe. It does not help. The smell of the tavern clings to your skin, your hair, your soul. You walk to the edge of the building, lean against the cold stone, close your eyes. For a moment, there is nothing. No smoke, no noise, no weight. You pretend you are elsewhere. A field, a stream, a place with Sunday. And then you hear it. Behind you, the scrape, but not from the floor, from beneath the walls. You do not turn. You open your eyes. A rat runs past your boot. You flinch. That's how you know you're not gone yet. Not fully, but close. You return to the tavern. You do not knock. You do not pause. You are part of it now. The traveller who spilled the drink is gone. His friend stares into his cup. The boy sweeps the shards without speaking. The stew boils. The tavern breathes. And you sit down. You do not ask where the man went. You already know. You clutch the tooth in your pocket. It is warm again. That, more than anything, frightens you. Because the tavern is choosing you. And soon, you may stop resisting. And that is when you will finally belong. And that is when you will truly be lost. Night again. You do not remember when day ended. There was no sunset, no final bell, no flicker of candlelight to mark the shift. It simply happened. The way moss grows, the way rot sets in. You looked up from your cup, and the tavern was dark. The coals in the hearth burned dull red. No flames, just heat. Enough to keep the damp at bay, but not enough to offer comfort. You are not cold. You are not warm. You are something in between, suspended, softened. The room is quieter tonight. Not empty, never empty, just slower. Voices murmur, cups clink. A cough breaks through now and again, but the energy has changed. Last night was violence. This night is tension. You have come to know the difference. The two young travellers are still here, but only one of them sits upright now. The other hasn't moved in over an hour. Slumped against the wall, mouth slightly open. No one checks if he's asleep or gone. That would require care. The tavern does not reward care. You sip your ale, bitter, warm. The flavour has dulled, or perhaps your tongue has. The boy has a cut on his hand. You see it when he passes by with a plate of stew. A long, thin line across the palm. Not fresh, not old. He holds the hand differently now, cupped, as if to hide it. The tavern keeper doesn't look at it, but he sees it. That's his way. You wonder if the boy did something wrong, or simply did something. In the tavern, there is little difference. Actions are remembered, mistakes are punished, but silence is watched most of all. You are learning. You speak less, move less, think more. That is survival here. A man stumbles in. He is wet. Mud on his knees, filth on his face. His hands shake. He holds something under his cloak, something wrapped. He approaches the bar, says nothing, places the bundle down. The tavern keeper unwraps it. You see a hand, severed, clean at the wrist, pale and soft. A noble's hand. The room does not gasp. The room does not speak. The room drinks. The tavern keeper re-wraps the hand, places it beneath the bar. The man is given a drink. Nothing else is said. You swallow hard, because that was not a threat. That was an offering. The tavern accepts many things. Coin, secrets, meat. But above all, it accepts fear. Fear is currency here. Fear is power. You are starting to feel very poor. The charm girl returns. She carries nothing. No basket, no trinkets, just herself. She walks slowly now, as if weighed down. She does not look at you. She looks at the barmaid. They share a glance. Short, final. The girl sits by the fire. She hums. It is not the same song. It is lower, slower, distant. You wonder if she's mourning something that hasn't happened yet. You ask yourself, what happens to the children who outgrow the charm trade? You do not ask aloud. The stew is served again. You do not eat. Not tonight. You remember the hand, and you remember the scrape. The dog has not returned. That bothers you more than it should. The tooth in your pouch is hot now. Not just warm, hot. Like it has been left near the fire. You try to ignore it. You fail. You grip it in your fist under the table. It pulses. Or maybe your heart does. You cannot tell the difference anymore. A fight breaks out at the dice table. It begins with a raised voice, then a shout, then the crash of a bench. But this time, no knives, only fists. It's the kind of fight that settles old debts with new bruises. The kind the tavern permits. Because pain without blood is still entertaining. They wrestle, snarl, fall. One man's head hits the corner of the table. He drops. The other wipes his nose. Sits down. Drinks. No one checks the fallen. You wonder how long it takes before someone moves the body. The boy appears. He does not look at the man. He cleans the blood. Not all of it. Just enough. The tavern keeper nods once. You finish your aal. Your body tells you to stop. But your hands do not listen. You are beginning to want the numbness. That is the fourth sign. The one you were warned about, though not in words. The desire to become part of the tavern. Not a guest, not a visitor, but a fixture, like the coals, or the knives, or the shadows in the corner that no one ever questions. You look up. The pale man has returned. You hadn't seen him enter, but he is here, at the same table, same cup, same silence. He looks at no one, but you know he hears everything. He is the tavern's memory. He is its record. And when the time comes, he decides who remains a whisper and who becomes a stain. You will be one or the other. The girl stops humming. The fire dies down. The wind moans outside like a dog kicked from the door. The travelers are both asleep now. You are not. You will not sleep. Because sleep means dreaming, and you cannot risk what you might see. The tavern is inside you now, and dreams are how it speaks. You sit in the dark, the cup empty in your hand, and the tooth burning in your palm. You would not last a day, but it is no longer up to you. It never was. At some point in the night, the tavern stops pretending to be a building. It becomes something else, something older, closer to the earth. It creaks, breathes, settles like an animal curled against the cold. The walls sweat, the floor hums. The fire sighs with every dying ember, and you, trapped within it, become a part of it whether you want to or not. You are not warm, but you are no longer cold. You are not tired, but you are not alert. You are in that fragile state between waking and dreaming, where the world is too quiet and the thoughts too loud, and the tavern waits for that. It loves that. It feeds on that. Someone plays a pipe. Not well, not in tune, but the melody is haunting, crooked, like a lullaby remembered wrong. The man playing it sits alone. You hadn't seen him before. He must have arrived after the fight. He sways slightly with the music, eyes closed, lips twitching. The notes curl through the smoke like vines. They cling to the rafters. They wrap around your ears. They pull you somewhere you don't want to go. A memory, not yours. You see a child crying in a stable, a dead horse, a woman screaming, a fire, a door that won't open. You shake your head. You are still at the table, still in the tavern, but the music is inside you now. And that is the fifth sign, the one no one tells you about. The tavern has begun to rewrite you. The mercenary wakes with a grunt, rubs his eyes, spits into the rushes. His hands tremble slightly, then still. He does not look at anyone. He stands, stretches, cracks his neck, then walks to the fire, stares into it, longer than he should. He does not blink. The pipe plays on. The boy has fallen asleep under the bar, curled like a dog, one hand still wrapped in a dirty cloth. His face is gaunt, his breathing shallow. No one covers him. The barmaid leans against the wall, eyes open but glassy. Her lips move, though no words come out. She is mouthing something. A prayer, a curse, or perhaps she is just remembering who she used to be. The charm girl is gone. You do not know when she left, or why, or if she will return. Her skull talisman still sits on the hearth, untouched. You rise. Your legs ash. Your knees crack. Your spine feels burnt. You walk to the hearth. No one stops you. You pick up the talisman. It is warm. Of course it island. You slip it into your pouch beside the tooth. They feel familiar together, as if they've always belonged to the same story. You return to your bench. Sit. Sip. Stare. A woman weeps in the corner, quietly, like she has done it before, like she knows the rules. A man plays with a knife. He spins it on the table, not fast, not flashy, just steady, over and over. He is not threatening anyone, he is reminding himself he exists. A chicken clucks from the shadows. You'd forgotten the rooster. It watches you, only you. Its eyes are glassy, but not dull. You wonder what it knows. The man with the pipe stops playing. He bows his head and begins to sob. Not loud, not wet, just soft gasps, as if the music had cracked something open. No one comforts him. No one mocks him. This is expected. The tavern is not cruel. Cruelty requires intent. The tavern is indifferent. It gives you what you ask for, then watches what you do with it. And if it breaks you, that is your fault. You close your eyes, just for a moment, and the dreams come fast. You see the barmaid in a white dress, dancing in a field of bones. You see the boy pulling teeth from a line of corpses, each one smiling. You see yourself, younger, cleaner, standing at the door of the tavern, choosing to enter. You wake. The fire is lower. The room is darker. The pipe player is gone. His cup remains. And inside, it is a single tooth. Not human. You look down at your hand. There are blisters. You do not know when they appeared. You do not know how long you've been here. But you know this. You cannot leave. Not because the door is locked, but because the tavern has removed the part of you that remembered how you would not last a day. And now, the tavern knows it. And now, you do too. Something has changed. Not the light, not the smell. Those remain the same half-rotted stew scent simmering over ash, the same lazy shadows curling under benches and along beams. Not the people, either. Most of them haven't moved in hours. They rot upright now, like trees in a poisoned orchard. Number. What's changed is harder to name. It's something inside you. You no longer remember the names of the streets outside. You no longer think about the road that brought you here. You no longer think of the sky as a place above, but as something you escaped beneath. The tavern has begun its final work. It's not just breaking you, it's replacing you. You hear a voice you haven't heard before. A woman. Not the barmaid. Someone else. She sits by the fire now, though you didn't see her enter. She has grey in her hair and a wide, pale scar running from the corner of her eye to her ear. She's sharpening a needle with a whetstone. Slowly, methodically. You are not sure what the needle is for, but you are sure it is not for sewing. No one speaks to her. No one acknowledges her. You understand what that means. She is important. Or dangereuse. Or both. She begins humming, low and steady, and the room responds not in movement, but in temperature. Colder. The boy is gone now, not just out of sight. Gone. No one asks. The barmaid limps a little heavier. Her eyes have turned inward, as if watching something only she can see. The two travellers are no longer travellers. They do not speak of the road. One of them now carves marks into the table with a nail. The other speaks to the wall. They are not new anymore. They are becoming part of the tavern. You check your hands again. The blisters are worse. One has broken. Your fingernails are darker. You smell something sweet. Rotten fruit. No fruit has been served here in days. You don't know how many. The tavern keeper speaks. Everyone hears. He says one word, down, and the door to the back room opens. You did not know there was a door there. You thought it was just a wall. A man emerges. Tall, pale. Not the clerk. Not the pale man from before. Different. He carries a candle. That's all. He walks to the center of the room and stops. He waits. The tavern shifts. The mercenary stands, walks to him, says nothing, follows him through the door. It shuts, and the tavern breathes again. You realize your hands are shaking. The stew boils. The cup is full. The rooster crows once. Low. Wrong. You are tired, but you cannot sleep. You cannot sleep because you know what happens if you do. Sleep is when the tavern whispers. Sleep is when it chooses your memories to erase. You touch the tooth. You touch the skull charm. They burn your fingers. You do not let go, because they are all you have left. You do not know who you are anymore, only who you were before the tavern, and even that is fading. A man leans close. You did not hear him approach. He smells of ash and sweat and old books. He speaks through broken teeth. You could leave, but it would cost you. You say nothing. He waits, then smiles. All right then, he says. The tavern thanks you. He walks away, and you realize you have agreed to stay, not in words, in stillness, in silence, and the tavern rewards silence with permanence. You are no longer a guest. You are a fixture, and when someone new arrives, they will see you, and they will think you are harmless, and they will learn, as you have learned, that you would not last a day, and the tavern always gets its day. Dawn tries to come. You feel it more than see it, a soft loosening in the pressure of the walls, the faintest shift in the smell of the smoke, as if the outside world still exists, as if there is something beyond the tavern's grip. But light doesn't reach this place easily, not after all that has been seen here, not after all that has happened. The hearth is black now, cold. You can still see the faint red heart of a coal or two, but no one feeds them, no one stirs. The tavern has entered its long breath, the one it takes just before another cycle begins. You're still at your table. You haven't moved in hours. You think you slept, but you don't remember dreaming, only sitting, only waiting. Your hands rest on the table. The blisters have burst. Your fingers are bandaged. You did not do this. The bandages are coarse, tight, and stained with something dark. You glance down. The charm skull is gone from your pouch. The tooth remains. You do not ask. You no longer question losses here. The pale man is still in his corner, writing. He does not eat. He does not drink. He records. And once again you do not remember him arriving. But he is always here when something important ends or begins. You are afraid to speak, not because anyone would punish you, but because you're no longer certain what your voice would sound like, what language it would choose, what truths it would give away. A cup is set before you. Water. Not ale, not wine. Just water. You stare at it. It is cloudy. A strand of something pale floats inside. But you drink. It tastes like metal and moss, but it does not burn, and that is somehow worse. The barmaid is sweeping. Not straff. Not rushes. Something thicker, darker. The broom is handmade, barely a tool. She moves in circles, methodical. She hums again, but the melody is different. You've heard it before. It was sung when the boy disappeared, and again when the traveller broke the cup. It's a song of endings. You glance toward the door to the back. It is open. Just a crack. Enough to remind you that it's still there, that whatever went through it is still waiting. The woman with the needle is gone. No one saw her leave. But there's a thin smear of something on the bench where she sat today. A thread. A drop of wax. A curl of grey hair. You do not touch any of it. The tavern has rules. And one of them is this. You do not take what the tavern gives to others. A man sits beside you. You know him. Or you think you do. He is wearing your boots. They are scuffed, wet, crusted with mud. He does not speak. He does not drink. He just sits. You look down at your feet. You are barefoot. Your socks are gone. You did not feel them taken. You do not feel the cold floor. You try to remember your name. It does not come easily. Something beginning with a J. Or was it D? You were born near a river, you think. Or a wall. Or a city. That knowledge is dripping out of you like spilled drink. The man next to you begins to laugh. Not loudly. Not madly. Just knowingly. He takes your cup, drinks your water, sets the cup down, and leaves. You do not stop him, because it no longer matters. Not here. The charm girl returns. This time, she looks at you, long, hard. She is older now, not in years, but in posture. She carries nothing. Her hands are empty, but her eyes are full. She kneels beside your bench, places her palm on your knee, and speaks. You don't belong here, she says. You blink. It is the first human sentence directed at you in how long? You don't know. She leans in close, whispers, "But you will." She walks away. The tavern has chosen you. You are no longer resisting. And that is the sixth and final sign. Not acceptance, not peace, just quiet. You touch the tooth. It is cold again. You place it on the table. The tavern keeper sees it. He walks over, looks at it, then at you, then back at it, and leaves it there. You have been claimed, but by what, you still do not know. The sky outside lightens. Morning, real morning, presses against the windows. The cock crows again, but it is hoarse, as if it too has learned not to be too loud. The back door opens again. Something is dragged out. You do not look. You do not need to, because by now, you know, you would not last a day in a medieval tavern. And yet, you have, which means something inside you has already died. The sun rises. You see it this time, just a sliver through the warped glass pane above the door. The light bends strangely as it enters, as if ashamed to touch the floorboards. It does not warm the tavern. It does not purify. It simply marks the passing of time, the reminder that the world still spins, even here. Someone opens the shutters, not wide, just enough to let in the smell of mud and wood smoke and dung. You are still at your table, your feet still bara, your hands still wrapped in stained cloth. The tooth is gone from the table. You do not ask where it went. The tavern is quieter this morning. Not the softness of sleep, the weariness of having survived something no one can name. The barmaid moves slower. The boy is still gone. The bench where the woman with the needle sat is now occupied by a man counting coins aloud, one by one. He drops them onto the table and whispers to each. Not numbers, names. You recognize one. It is yours. He places the coin back into his pouch. You feel something inside your stomach twist. Not fear, recognition. You rise. Your legs argue, but you stand. The room does not notice. You cross to the hearth. The ashes are deep. Someone drew a spiral in them. A child's hand, maybe, maybe not. You do not ask. You step outside. The morning is wet. Not raining, but the world is soaked. The ground squelches under your heel. You feel it because your boots are still missing. You search the alley, pretending to look for them. You find a sock. It is not yours. You return to the front. A man stands near the door. He nods to you. He holds a broom, but does not sweep. He smells of vinegar and smoke. You do not speak. He does not either. You pass. Inside again. You sit. The cup is full. You drink. It is not ale. It is not water. It is something between. Thick, warm, bitter. You drink it all. Your hands no longer shake. That should worry you. It does not. The pale man is still in his corner. Today, he is writing faster. Whatever is happening, it is worth recording. A group of men enters. 3. They carry no weapons, but they are weapons. They smell of iron and blood. They speak to the tavern keeper. He points at someone. Not you. The man being pointed to stands. He does not argue. He walks with them through the back door. The tavern returns to normal. Someone sings. The charm girl is here again. She is carving something into the wall. Tiny marks. Repeating. You realize they are teeth. Dozens. Each drawn with care, with reverence. You count them. You stop at 30. The air changes. Someone new arrives. He is young, clean, loud. He slaps a coin on the bar and demands bread. The tavern watches. You do not. You know what comes next. He will laugh. He will boast. He will offend. He will lose. He will vanish. And in a day, no one will remember he was here. Except you, and the girl, and the pale man, whose quill never pauses. The cup refills. You do not ask how. You do not thank anyone. You drink. You eat. The stew tastes better now. That is the 7th sign. It means you belong. The barmaid sits beside you. She has not sat in days. She says nothing. She eats from your bowl. You do not stop her. She looks at you. Finally. Not with pity. Not with caution. With understanding. You didn't leave, she says. You nod. She chews slowly. You should have. You know. She stands. Walks away. You finish the bowl. There is something small and hard at the bottom. You do not look at it. You swallow it. The cup is full again. You do not touch it. The tavern waits. But it does not need to wait long. You are changing. Not in the body. In the part of you that once asked questions. In the part of you that remembered stars. Now, there is only this room. These faces. This fire. This stew. You blink. The man who counted coins is gone. The cup before you is empty again. You do not remember drinking. The rooster crows. It is standing on the hearth. Its feathers are red with something not its own. It does not blink. It stares only at you. You stare back. You do not look away. That is the 8th sign. You are no longer afraid. And that is the most dangerous thing of all. Because the tavern only needs you to forget one more thing that you ever wanted to leave. You hear a bell. Not from the church, not from outside. It comes from beneath the floor. A single chime, soft, hollow, ancient. No one reacts. Not the barmaid, not the mercenary, who now sits alone, sharpening a blade that already gleams. Not the travellers, what's left of them. One mutters to himself in a loop of 3 phrases. The other stares at the door, not moving, not blinking. Not the pale man, whose quill still dances across parchment like a spider spinning silk. Not the charm girl, who has begun drawing circles on the floor with ash. Only you. Only you hear it and feel the cold rise from your spine like breath on the back of your neck. That bell was not for them. It was for you. Your hand reaches into your pouch again, blindly. The tooth is gone. So is the skull. In their place, a small scrap of parchment. You pull it out. It reads only. One more. No ink. Just scorched lettering, like it was burned into the fabric of the air itself. Your hands begin to shake. The cup in front of you rattles. You cover it quickly. No one must see. No one can see. Because once the tavern knows you've been marked, it begins the final meal. You stand. Not because you want to, because something is pulling you. You walk to the hearth. The rooster is gone. Its feathers remain, smouldering gently in the ash. You pick one up. It crumbles in your hand. You do not flinch. You no longer have flinching left in you. The barmaid watches you now. Her eyes are hollow, but not blind. She knows. She knew before you did. She walks to you, speaks. You're going down then. It is not a question. You nod. It is not a decision. The tavern keeper opens the back door again. The one that should not be there. The one that leads beneath the floor, beneath the rules, beneath everything. The barmaid hands you a candle, already lit. The flame does not flicker. It hums. You step through. The air is thicker, cooler. The light fades fast, like it's being swallowed. You descend. The stairs are stone now, worn smooth by centuries of choices. At the bottom, a room. Circular. Low ceiling. Damp walls. No sound but dripping. And breathing. Not yours. You are not alone. The room is full. Shapes sit in silence. Men, women, children, all still. They are not bound. They are not dead. They are waiting. Each has a mark on their palm. You look at yours. It is there now. Burned in. A circle with no center. A mouth. The tavern's mouth. You kneel, as the others do. Not commanded. Not instructed. It is simply what happens now. The flame flickers once. Then dies. Total blackness. And in that darkness, the tavern speaks. Not in words. In memory. It shows you every moment you considered leaving. Every kindness you resisted. Every cruelty you allowed. Every silence you kept. Every name you forgot. Every time you looked away when the body hit the floor. And you understand. You were never a guest. You were always the next. You were the one the tavern called, slowly, until you answered, until you obeyed. The silence is total now. You feel yourself becoming still. Your breath slows. Your blood chills. Your name fades. And then, light, you are back at your table. The barmaid is pouring stew. The pale man is writing. The mercenary is laughing. The rooster struts past your boots. Nothing has changed. But you know what's beneath. You know what waits. You drink. It tastes of earth and ash and something older than hunger. The cup refills. You do not ask, because now you are part of the tavern, and it is part of you. The ninth sign is acceptance, not of the place, of the role. You are no longer surviving. You are watching. You are waiting for the next one to arrive, to protest, to resist, and then to kneel, because they will not last a day, and you will be there when they fail, just as others were there for you, just as the tavern was, island, will be. There is a rhythm now, not music, not steps, not breath. Deeper than that, a rhythm that lives in the cracks between words, in the shuffle of boots over straw, in the clink of wood against wood, in the silences that grow longer with each passing hour. The tavern has become a living thing, and you have learned to match its pulse. You wake but you never quite remember sleeping. The bench is familiar. The shape of your body has carved itself into the grain. The knots press into your spine like old memories. You are not sore anymore. You are not anything. You sit, and the cup is there. It is always there. You do not see it filled. You do not ask. The stew arrives, the same bowl, the same spoon. You eat. It is no longer bitter. It is not sweet. It is you. The boy has not returned. His name was never said aloud, and now it cannot be recalled. The tavern keeps no records, only debts, and his has been collected. The charm girl still comes and goes. You do not speak to her. She does not look at you. But each morning, a new mark appears near the hearth, carved low, hidden behind the ash. A tally, a reckoning. You wonder what number you are. The barmaid has a new limp, deeper now, slower. She winces, but not from pain, from memory. She passes you the bowl without a word. You nod. That is enough. You have not spoken in days, weeks. You do not know what day at Island. The tavern has no windows wide enough for calendars, only cracks, only flickers of light. And in those flickers, you sometimes see things you cannot explain. A hand on the stair that vanishes when you turn, a shadow that crawls faster than the fire, a second reflection in a mug of ale. You drink it anyway. You always drink. The pale man is gone today. His parchment remains. You glance at it once. Your name is not written, but something close Island, a word you half recognize, a place, or a promise. You do not look again. A child runs through the room, laughs. Everyone freezes. Not because of the child, because there are no children here. There haven't been for as long as you've been here, maybe longer. The child is gone before anyone rises. A memory, a warning. No one speaks, not even the travelers. They are still here, but barely. One has begun to lose his teeth. He does not bleed. He simply spits them out, one by one, into a cloth he keeps in his pocket. He folds the cloth carefully, keeps it near his heart. The other stares at the floor all day. He hums sometimes. It is not the same tune the charm girl used. It is older, lower, the sound of surrender. The mercenary is drunk again, or pretending to be. He speaks to the barmaid. They talk of nothing, weather, horses, the price of salt. But their voices are too even, their hands too still. They are remembering who they were before the tavern, which means they are planning to leave, which means one of them will not last the night. You know this. Everyone does. The tavern hears it in their voices. The tavern does not like departures, only disappearances. The stew thickens. The cup warms. The lights dim without being lowered. The rooster walks across the rafters. It stops above you, drops something into your lap. A feather. You touch it. It cuts your finger. You bleed, but not red. Something darker, thicker. It sinks into the floorboards and is gone. You leave the feather where it fell. It moves slightly against the grain of the air. You do not touch it again. The charm girl walks by. She sees the feather. She pauses, and for the first time in days, she speaks. She says, soon, then leaves. You do not ask what. You already know. The tavern has no clocks, but it always keeps time. You close your eyes. You do not sleep. You listen to the breathing of the floor, to the scrape of the back door, to the whisper behind your ear that says, one more, and you wonder, is it meant for you or someone else? You hope it is not you, but deep down you know, Hope left the tavern long before you arrived. Rain returns. It does not fall. It seeps. Through cracks in the walls, through the thatch above, through the breath of those who sigh too heavily. The tavern does not protest the damp. It welcomes it. It becomes part of the stew, the air, the beds of straw that no longer resemble beds. It coats your clothes. It collects at the back of your throat. You stop noticing. The room smells of wet leather, rotting wood, old meat, and something metallic that has no name, but reminds you of coins rubbed too long between nervous fingers. You have been here long enough. Time no longer tracks you. You track it in the wear of the cup rim, the softening of your calluses, the way your name has slipped from your tongue, only to be replaced with silence. Across from you, the man who stole your boots is still wearing them. You never asked for them back. You no longer feel your feet. The coin counter returns. The same pouch, the same whispers. He lays out 7 coins today. Each has a notch. Each is heavier than it should be. He names them. 1 for a name, 1 for a home, 1 for the tooth, 1 for the child, 1 for the choice, 1 for the silence, 1 for the next. He does not look at you, but he lays the 8th coin in front of your cup. He does not name it. You do not ask. The barmaid sees it. She limps to the table. She nods once, then picks up the coin, tucks it into her apron. She says, "It's done." You do not ask what, because you know. Someone enters, not through the door, from the back, the pale man, but he is different. His writing hand is wrapped in cloth. He holds no parchment. He looks older, tired. He sits beside you. This has never happened. You do not speak. Neither does he. The charm girl walks past. She leaves something in front of you. Not a feather, not a skull. A mirror, cracked, polished only in the center. Just enough to see one eye. You stare. It stares back. You do not recognize yourself. The boy returns. Not the same boy, but a boy. He looks like the last one, but younger. Or older. He carries a bucket. He begins to mop. The tavern sighs. It always sighs when it replaces something. The rooster crows again, but it is not in the rafters. It is beneath the floor. Deep. You realize now, you were never a guest. You were never even a patron. You were an ingredient. The tavern feeds on people, but not with teeth. With time, with forgetting, with rolls. You have become a table. Not literally, but functionally. You hold the weight of cups, of elbows, of whispered plans. You are solid. You are still. You are always here. And that is the 10th sign. You have been accepted. Fully. Permanently. Someone new enters. Dripping wet. Red in the face. Shouting for a meal. For wine. For a room. The barmaid nods. She hands him a bowl. You recognize the spoon. It was once yours. You do not flinch. You do not rise. You only watch. The traveler grumbles. He complains about the smell. He throws a coin on the floor. He laughs too loudly. He will not last. But he does not know it yet. No one ever does. Until it is too late. He glances around. His eyes rest on you. He smirks. "Seen a ghost, have you?" he says. You smile. Just once. Just enough. "No," you whisper, voice cracked and low. "I've seen myself." He laughs. You do not. The tavern groans. The lights dim. The hearth flares for a moment. And behind the bar, the tavern keeper places a fresh cup where yours used to be. It is not for you. You are done drinking. You are the watcher now. The next one has arrived, and he will need your silence, because that is how it begins. Always. With silence, and a stew that never stops boiling, and a cup that never empties, and a tooth, and a feather, and a name you no longer need, because you would not last a day in a medieval tavern, but the tavern, it will last forever. The new traveler sits near the hearth. He stretches his legs too far, leans back too casually, his boots still dry, crossed at the ankle like he owns the stone beneath them. He talks to himself, not in madness, in arrogance. The tavern listens, but not kindly. He does not understand the rules. He calls the barmaid darling. He taps the cup for more before drinking what's inside. He wipes his mouth on the sleeve of his cloak. He is what you once were. He is what you can no longer remember being. He is loud. He is temporary. The barmaid pours his ale, but she does not speak. The boy, this new boy, watches from behind the counter. He's younger than the last. His hands are cleaner. For now, he stares at the traveller as if waiting. You know what for. You know the moment when the tavern will begin to consume him. It is never the first sip, never the first lie. It is when he realizes he cannot remember where he meant to go, that his boots are no longer dry, that his name echoes less when he says it aloud, that his cup refills without sound. The traveller plays dice with himself, the same game you once played. The dice roll, snake eyes. He rolls again, still snake eyes, again and again, until the fifth roll, when one die splits, cracked through the middle, hollow. He stops, looks at the tavern keeper. I want new dice, he says. The tavern keeper shrugs. You brought those with you, he replies. The traveller frowns. He does not remember. He will. The pale man writes again. His hand is still wrapped. He dips his quill in something thicker than ink. The parchment soaks. The letters seem to shimmer. You do not look too long. That is how you lose pieces you haven't finished letting go. The charm girl passes by. She drops something in the traveller's lap. He startles. A tooth. He curses, throws it to the floor. You wince, but no one speaks. The charm girl does not retrieve it. She has marked him. Now it begins. The feather appears on the hearth, as it always does. The fire rises slightly, enough to cast light on the wall behind the traveller. His shadow is wrong. It moves too slowly. He does not see it. You do. He eats the stew. He stops halfway through, spits something out. A nail. He pushes the bowl away. The barmaid takes it. Without comment, he stands, staggers slightly. The floor beneath him has shifted. He does not notice. The boy disappears behind the curtain near the back. The door opens. The traveller does not hear it, but the room does. The sound is familiar. Wet wood, rusted hinges, stone breath. You do not rise. You do not need to. Your part is nearly finished. You were once the traveller. Now you are the witness. And soon you will be something else entirely. The traveller begins to sweat. Though the fire is low, he stumbles back to the table. His hands tremble. The cup is full again. He does not remember it being filled. He drinks, then gags, then drinks again, and again. He cannot stop. He drops the cup. It does not break. The barmaid kneels, picks it up, wipes it clean. She places it in front of you. You do not touch it. The traveller sinks to the floor. You hear him whisper, "This isn't real." You speak. For the first time in what may be days. It Island, it's just not yours. The room quiets. Everyone hears you. Even the walls. Even the floor. Even the rooster, perched above the hearth, nods once. As if in agreement. The traveller crawls to the back door. No one helps him. No one stops him. He opens it. The darkness inside is total. He steps through. The door closes. You feel something exhale beneath your feet. The tavern is fed again. The pale man finishes writing. The charm girl carves another tooth into the wood near the hearth. The barmaid pours you a cup. You drink. It is warm. Not bitter. Not sweet. Just familiar. The boy reappears. A fresh cloth in his hand. He begins to mop. You feel tired, but not from lack of sleep. From weight. From knowing. From remembering what you were. And understanding what you've become. You think of the road. You think of the Sunday. You think of names. But they no longer fit. They belong to someone else. Someone who never entered this place. You are no longer that person. The tavern has shaped you, bit by bit, cup by cup, shadow by shadow. And now you are something it keeps. A voice, a presence, a warning. For the next traveller, who will not last a day, as you did not, as non-do. Morning doesn't come so much as unfolds slowly, reluctantly, as if peeling itself away from the tavern's damp ceiling, inch by inch. Light returns, but it doesn't cleanse. It doesn't chase the shadows from the corners or lift the heaviness from your chest. It simply reminds the room that time has not stopped, that it never stops. Not even here. You've lost count of how many travellers you've seen now, each one louder than the last, each one more certain, each one gone. The tavern does not devour with teeth, it devours with time, routine, forgetting. It does not kill you. It edits you. The boy is sweeping again. The new one. He hums softly. The tune is not his. It belongs to the first boy, and the one before him, and the one before that. He doesn't know that, but the tavern does. The pale man is not writing today. His parchment is gone, his hand unwrapped. There is nothing beneath, just skin stretched too thin, a hand that looks carved, not grown. He watches you now, as if waiting, as if you are supposed to speak. But you don't. You haven't for hours, maybe days. There's nothing left to say. You've become efficient. Your spoon moves in smooth arcs. You drink without sipping. You nod when the barmaid fills your bowl. You do not ask what's inside. You don't need to. It tastes of what you've become, and you've grown used to the flavor. The charm girl no longer carves. She paints now, with ash and something darker. You've never seen her sleep. Sometimes she vanishes for a few hours, but she always returns. More silent, more certain. You know what she is doing. She is preparing the tavern for something. Not a storm, not a fire, but an arrival, one that matters. You feel it in the floorboards. You feel it in your teeth. You feel it in your bones. The mercenary is gone. His bench sits empty. The blade he once sharpened rests on the hearth, untouched, still clean. You wonder who will take it next. The barmaid does not limp anymore. She floats, each step deliberate, as if she no longer walks on the same floor as the rest of you, as if she's above it now, or beneath it. You think of speaking to her. You don't. The coin counter is here again, but this time, he lays out only one coin, one, and he places it in front of you. You look at it. It's warm. He smiles. All paid, he says, and walks away. No bauch, no whispers. Just one final transaction. The barmaid sees. She nods. You feel your throat tighten. You do not know why. You stare at the coin. It begins to hum, faint, low, like something alive, buried deep. You touch it. Your skin prickles. The room slows. You blink and realize you are the only one moving. Everyone else is frozen. The boy mid-sweep, the charm girl mid-stroke, the pale man mid-blink. Even the fire has paused. You stand. The coin is still in your palm. You walk to the hearth. The rooster is there. It stares. You place the coin on the stone. It hisses. The room exhales. The world returns. The fire roars. The boy coughs. The charm girl wipes her hand. The pale man nods. They all knew. You were the one who had to place it. The final coin. The final acceptance. The final forgetting. You sit back down. The cup is full again, but the stew is gone. You do not feel hunger, only memory. And even that fades quickly now. A new traveler enters. She is young, too young, hair braided, eyes bright, boots unscuffed. She smells like distance and questions. She does not belong here, yet. She walks to the bar. She speaks too loudly. She orders bread. The barmaid nods, spoons out stew instead. The girl frowns, but eats. You watch her. You do not smile. You do not warn her. That is not your role. Not anymore. The rooster hops onto the table, leaves a feather by her bowl. She does not notice. You do. The tavern chooses again. Always one more. One more coin. One more name. One more story. One more failure. You sip your cup. It tastes of forgetting, and you are grateful. Because you are tired of remembering who you were before you stepped through the door. Before the floor creaked. Before the stew boiled. Before the tooth. Before the feather. Before you became this. You would not last a day in a medieval tavern. And now, you don't have to. Because the tavern will last for you. You dream again. But this time, it is not of your village, nor the open road, nor even the sea. You dream of wood. Old, splintered, whispering wood. You dream of tavern walls shifting like breath, of beams bending like bows, of nails that scream when no one listens. The tavern is alive. It always was. You simply forgot to notice. It feeds off your steps, your heat, your hesitation, and it gives back. In a choice, in rituals, in routines so deep, they become memory. The charm girl wakes before you do. She is marking the floor with soot and crushed wormwood. Symbols that do not belong in any prayer book. Symbols that curl inward like smoke. She finishes one and begins again. Not for art, but for balance. The pale man has begun whispering to the fire, his voice too low to understand, but his words bend the flames. You watch them ripple, like breath caught mid-sigh, like time hesitating. You do not interrupt. Not anymore. The boy is gone. Just for today. His broom leans gently against the door. You feel a pang. It's the only clean thing in the room. The coin counter enters again. But this time, he does not sit. He walks straight to the charm girl, hands her a leather pouch. She doesn't look inside, just nods. She paints a mark on his forehead, and he leaves. You do not ask where he's going. You already know. There are no maps for where he walks now. No roads. Only memory. And forgetting. You rise. Your back does not hurt. Your knees do not crack. You don't remember when they stopped. The stew is already waiting. Steam curling upward like fingers. You eat slowly, savoring it. Not because it tastes good, but because it's warm. And warmth is rare here. Not temperature, but kindness. That kind of warmth. The barmaid sits across from you. Not working. Not walking. Just sitting. She places her hands on the table. They are old. Not in skin, but in posture. She does not speak. Neither do you. But something passes between you. A knowing. You wonder what she was before. Before the apron. Before the limp that is now afloat. Before the tavern claimed her. She sees your question. And smiles. A smile like a blade that has forgotten how to cut. I was hungry, she says softly. And nothing more. It is enough. You understand. The tavern doesn't choose the cruel. It chooses the hollow. Because hollowness is easier to fill. The door opens again. A child this time. A real one. Barefoot. Matted hair. Eyes too old. He doesn't speak. Just walks in. The rooster crows once. Not loud. Just enough. The fire flares. The boy walks to the hearth. Sits. Begins to hum. The tune is new, but already familiar. You feel it settle into your bones. Like ash. Like inheritance. The pale man nods. The charm girl does not look up, but she paints faster. The barmaid rises. Places a cup in front of the child. No coin exchanged. No name asked. The boy drinks. You watch his throat move. Slow. Measured. As if he's done this before. As if he never stopped. The tavern breathes again. You feel it under your feet. You wonder how many souls live beneath the floor. Not buried, but remembered. Because the tavern forgets nothing. Not truly. It just recycles. Names become tunes. Coins become teeth. Stories become stew. And when the time is right, people become furniture. You blink. The bench under you feels warmer than it should. You do not stand. You are too tired to be anything other than what you are. The feather from earlier is still there. The girl who received it is not. No one mentions her. Not even the rooster. Especially not the rooster. You realize now he's the only one that never changes. Never grows old. Never leaves. You look at him. He looks back. There is no menace in his gaze. Only inevitability. You understand him now. He is not a bird. He is not a warning. He is the tavern's memory. And memory never forgets. You sip again. This time, the cup tastes of soil. Wet, soft, welcoming soil. And you are not afraid. Not anymore. You realize you haven't seen the sky in weeks. You wonder if it's still blue, or if the color gave up on you long ago. Someone coughs. The sound is familiar. You realize it is your own. It echoes longer than it should. The charm girl looks up. She stops painting. She nods. Just once. And resumes. You close your eyes. Not to sleep, but to listen. To the tavern's breath. Its shifting walls. Its heartbeat. Because it has one. And today, it matches your own. It rains again. You did not see the clouds. No one did. But now the roof groans above you, taking the weight of centuries with each heavy drop. The tavern does not leak. Not anymore. It learned to absorb. Outside, the road is mud. Not just water and dirt, but memory ground into soil. Steps from men who never came back. Wagon grooves from cargo that was never declared. Blood from a fight no one mentions. Tears that only the tavern remembers. You do not want to go outside, not because of the rain, but because the inside is now quieter than the storm, and that quiet feels earned. The pale man has stopped whispering. His mouth is still open, but nothing comes. You feel the echo in your ears anyway, like a dream you forgot to forget. The charm girl sleeps now, slumped over her soot marks. They've begun to smudge, but no one wakes her, because even the tavern respects sleep when it is real. You stir your stew. There is no meat today, only roots, soft and swollen. You do not mind. You begin to chew with intention, because each bite now feels like a ritual. To stay is to consume. To consume is to belong. You belong. The rooster watches you. He hasn't moved from the beam since last dusk, but you know he dreams. You feel it when your teeth click. You rise, not to leave, but to clean. You lift the boy's broom. It is heavier than it should be, as if each straw remembers the mess it has swept. You begin at the hearth. Slow, measured, circular. No one watches, but the tavern listens. You sweep past the table where the charm girl lies. She breathes slow. You match her rhythm. You sweep near the bar. The barmaid nods, doesn't speak, but she sets down a cloth beside you. It smells like salt, like old sea air, trapped in linen. You use it to wipe the boards, not to clean, but to remember, because the stains are not dirt, they are names. You move to the window. Outside, two travelers argue. They will not enter. You already know. They are too loud for this place, too certain. The tavern does not like certainty. It likes need. They walk away, boots sloshing through mud. Their words fade. The door remains closed. The pale man begins to hum. It is not a song. It is a vibration, like the sound between thoughts. You stop sweeping. Listen. A tune builds beneath the hum. The boy has returned. He carries nothing but a stare. He walks past you, straight to the back room, the one you never entered, the one no one speaks of. He opens it. No creak, just absence. You glimpse nothing inside, but the air shifts, and the tavern exhales. Everyone pauses. Even the rooster dips his head, as if to pray. The boy exits moments later, hands empty still, but the floor where he stepped is dry. Your broom rests now. You did not set it down. It chose to stop. You sit once more. The stew has cooled, but the cup is warm, too warm. You drink anyway. It burns sweet. The barmaid leans over, places something on the table. It is not food, not coin, not comfort. It is a feather, not white. This one is grey, soft, bent, not a token, a mirror. You look at it. You see nothing, but you feel seen. The rooster crows. Once. Sharp. Final. Everyone stops. The fire snaps. A log shifts. Ash dances. You look around. They are not people anymore. Not roles. Not parts of a play. They are the tavern. Each smile, each silence, each cough, each stain on the bench, each mark on the floor, each hair in the stew. They do not trap you. You are not a prisoner. You are not a guest. You are an answer to a question you never heard. You feel the floor breathe. The walls shift. The tavern has found its rhythm again. Its parts in place. Its balance restored. It does not need to feed today. It does not need to choose. It has chosen already. You blink, and the candle flickers. The wax drips onto your hand. You do not move, because the heat is real, and pain, at last, feels like presence. Outside, the storm has faded. Not ended, just retreated, as if embarrassed. As if it, too, felt the tavern's rhythm shift. Inside, nothing has changed, and everything has changed. You are still sitting at the same table. Your stew is still congealed. The candle still flickers with the damp breath of the room. But the air is different, heavier, not with smoke or wet cloth, but with the memory of decision. You rise again. Not because you must, but because you know it's time. The tavern never tells you what to do. It only waits. And now, it waits for your next movement. You approach the door, the one you entered from, the one with warped wood and old hinges. You do not open it. Not yet. Your hand rests on the handle. It is warm, not from fire, but from touch. So many before you, so many who did not leave. You think of them now. The soldier who lost his teeth in a game of dice. The widow who sang to the rafters when no one else listened. The boy who swept ash and slept beside the coals. The woman who wore charms not to attract, but to remember. The thief who only stole when he knew he would be caught. The noble who drank pig broth in secret, whispering forgiveness to a king he never met. The pale man who hummed to no one but the walls. They are all still here. Not in body, but in the patterns, the floorboards that tilt ever so slightly near the hearth, the nail that catches fabric near the third stool, the beam that echoes one note deeper when the rooster crows. They are written into the structure, just like you are now. You open the door, it resists, then yields, not as if pushing against you, but as if testing your weight. Rain has stopped, but the sky is low, grey and yellow, like bruised fruit. You step outside. Boots sink slightly into the mud. You hear nothing. No birds. No dogs. Only the creak of the tavern as it exhales behind you. You turn around. The sign sways. The letters faded. Not carved, but stained in. You still cannot read it. No one does. Because it's not a name. It's an invitation, or a warning, or both. The window flickers with movement. But when you look closer, it is only reflection. Your own face, but older, less clean, more settled. You do not smile. The tavern would not like that. But you nod, just slightly, and then you walk down the path, past the grave that has no stone, past the tree that never blooms, past the stone that rocks, but only when no one touches it. The mud does not cling to you this time. The air parts easier. You feel lighter, not because you are free, but because you understand the weight. You did not survive the tavern. No one does. You were absorbed. And now you carry a sliver of it. Wherever you go, you will drink cleaner ale someday. You will eat meat that is fresh. You will sleep in rooms with doors that lock. But somewhere, beneath the layers of comfort, you will remember the taste of soot, the glow of shared silence, the pressure of unseen eyes, and the warmth of a cup you never ordered. You will long for it, briefly, sharply, then it will pass, until one night, in a different place, in a different time, you see a door just slightly too dark for the rest of the wall, and you will pause. Your hand will twitch, you will remember, and perhaps you will enter again. But for now, you walk, the road stretches, and behind you, the tavern waits. It always waits.